again. Good morning to archival viewers. Let's go get the link so I can share with the public. Sorry if you can hear typing. I got a new microphone that does not have one of those nice bungee suspension things, so probably the audio is very nasty. Never said I was a professional. So, I have a short to-do list. Oh, hello, Zelda-Rune. Good morning, folks. How are you doing? How was your weekend so far? Just get all my windows together on my other monitor. Today we're not doing anything terribly exciting. We're just gonna cut apart the assets that have been made. We might do a little bit for Damara's sprite. I think she deserves to have like a unique little idol. Maybe I'll have her like leaning against the cave wall or something. And we might like do some map planning, like some basic just putting things together in a map, because then I have to kind of hand that and all the different pieces over to Janaya, who's going to put it in engine. We're going to see how it works, and hopefully it works. Well, maybe it will. I'm thinking it will. So, the shadows and the rocks I'm going to have to separate, but that's okay, because I did separate them. So, at this point, let's just grab everything that's not a shadow. I believe that's going to be all of this here, and just put that in its own folder. There we go. And these, I might as well fill these in. I'm happy for your enthusiasm, Casper. I was very slow to get up this morning. I wasn't in the mood, but it's what you do on the days when you don't feel like it sometimes. That's what makes the difference. Alright, so here we are in the shadow folder that I've very helpfully not named as the shadows folder. So let's put another layer in the base here and just fill these in. And I don't know what music to put on, if anything. We did actually get a copyright strike on the last stream, but like, since it's not monetized to begin with, and it's not like a strike against the channel, it's just ads. Like, if there was any revenue, that would be sent to the folks who own the Witcher soundtrack, I suppose. But it wasn't, I don't think it's something punitive, it's just, you know, it wasn't monetized or in the first place, so I don't think it's an issue. Hello, Billy Barnes. We are doing we're cutting apart the environment assets I created last week and the week before into different layers, so that the engine can put them kind of above and below character sprites as needed. And then, well, there is no and then. That's basically going to be it for environment assets. There's one we have to touch up potentially, but that'll be fine. So I'm just going to pretty these up a tiny bit. They don't have to be gorgeous by any means. these are going to be separated. It's just a little bit cleaner to have assets without, big gaps in them. Because sometimes things are going to get misaligned, or sometimes there's going to be, things that are slightly off. This is all stuff I probably should have gotten done this week, but the new season of Destiny did come out. So I did not get anything done. Yeah, this isn't completely accurate to the colors of the land of Sand and Zephyr, but also I do not think there is a soul alive that cares. So that works to my advantage. The Homestuck fandom has lowered its standards as of late. I'll put it that way. I remember there used to be a bit more of a critical response to the project. It's only natural for audiences to change over time. I should put on some music, I just don't know what I want. Oh, Destiny is it's a sci-fi shooter published by Bungie. Those are the guys that did Halo. And it sort of has like typically every 3 months the game enters like the next season of its story, and there's like new activities available, new quest lines, new gear, and of course the level cap increases, so you have to grind for more power. But I've been very much enjoying it this year. The stories have been very interesting and very rewarding to follow, and I'm not necessarily a veteran of the franchise, so I can't really speak for people who are, but I have noticed that a lot of folks who are veterans seem to be excited about it compared to, some of the other years it's been going on. It got kind of a bad reputation, I think, when it started out with Destiny 2. But I've been enjoying it, and I'm very excited for the Witch Queen, which is the next expansion coming out in the spring of next year. I think it looks great. Let's put this up here too. We'll call this Windmill Blades. Yeah, it is harder to find people. There was there's always the Reddit, but that's, you'll get a little bit of every kind there. So For Twitter being social media, it's still like harder to meet new people there, I guess. Maybe I don't know because I haven't been extremely social in meeting new Homestucks. Um, but there's some communities out there, and there's always SockCon that happens every year. Uh, that's that's a cool place to look and learn about like other Discord servers, other people, other projects. The fandom is not dead, which is I think a testament to to the strength of like the niche appeal of some of the things about it. Um, mm, Pause to sip my tea. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of it's kind of irrelevant in just figuring out like the best way to proceed in the project and the pace at which I need to proceed um, to get things done when there's not really it's not really pressure. All right, well we're gonna start saving out some assets here. We'll name it that. Um, Naming conventions. We're gonna go E for environment, and then we're gonna call it rock because it's part of the rock asset, and then we're gonna give it a shadow. We're gonna say this is rock A. Ta-da! Perfect. And we're gonna save it as a PNG. Boop. There we go. Oh, Jantha's a delight. Jantha is yeah, people have been sorry, I'm bouncing between comments. People have been saying Homestuck is dead for years. They are wrong. That's the one thing I disagree with about in Sarah's Homestuck video. It's not it's not waves on the sand. It's not sand on the beach. It's not that old. Like it's old for a web. It's not even old for a web comic. It's just that web comics are old. Like it's not that old of a piece of media. It's just that like the formats that we're using um, have matured very rapidly um, during like the technology boom that happened while Homestuck was releasing. And the thing is, like, we're actually reaching sort of a plateau in that. Like, we have moved to streaming, but like certain things about like screens and the way we interact with them have kind of reached the pinnacle of what they're going to be. Like any higher than 4K resolution and your eyes just can't see it. So there's not really any point in advancing that anymore. We're we're increasing graphic fidelity to a point where there's just not really any need for like the basic vehicles of delivery to substantially change. So a lot of the old medium now is at like the other side of this hill, and without even being that old, Homestuck is not that old as far as media goes. It was like it ended less than 10 years ago. That's that's not old at all. Um and to say that like in that short amount of a time that it's no longer like relevant to talk about culturally, I think is a symptom of, sorry, I'm just talking, I'm not working. I think is more of a symptom of like how we experience media now as commodities, like just as commodities that you're supposed to consume as fast as possible so you can get to the next commodity and brand and spend your money on it, because we're in this environment of competition of attention, because it's making consumers and customers out of you. And Homestuck was the same thing. Homestuck was making consumers and customers out of its brand. That's what a Patreon is. So I think that's like why that statement is partially true, but like it's not objectively true about art at its core. I think art does not go away after 10 years. I think there's lots of things about Homestuck that are incredibly relevant, if I can speak. Incredibly relevant and interesting today, but its strength as a brand has deteriorated this year due to um, the actions of Wet Pumpkin. So it's not a brand, and as a result, um, there's not really an audience for my project to speak to, because Homestuck is like not really doing anything as like a branded media property. So there's not that like commercialized element to interact with anymore. Or maybe I'm speaking too soon and it's on its way out, or it'll come back, or I don't know. But I think that's sort of the situation. Hmm. Hard to say. So we've saved out one shadow on one rock so far. Good for us. And I should probably name these so I don't lose track of which ones they are. This will be rock A. Never mind. This will be rock A. This will be rock B. This will be rock C. And this will not be a rock at all. This will be a tower, and we'll call it tower. And we'll make variations of this with and without the door. As a matter of fact, the door probably could be its own asset. I'll have to check. I'll go ahead and make some extras just in case. And then we have to save out the sand tile or do something with that. Yeah, and then we'll maybe start figuring out a map. So let's get this rock. Well, since I have folks here, I might as well check the vibe. How is everyone else feeling about Homestuck lately? What's the vibe? Oh, I just had a thought. Maybe I should line these up so they have the same world origin point when they're put in engine. I should do that. That's what I should do. Okay. Get over here, you two. No, actually, I can do this better. Here. The advantage of making assets larger in the file than they actually need to be, and how's that aligned, is that you can just give them exactly the same coordinates in the engine, and they'll go in exactly the right spot. Mostly reading Vast-Error, that's good. Vast-Error's good. Austin has cool things planned. New blogs, new O3s. That's awesome. I've been thinking about just like going back to writing just like some mini fiction projects, like just written word and prose again, because like it's a little bit easier. It might help me warm back up. Fan web comics, that's good. Vast-Error is good. I also recommend Karkat Goes to a Convention. That's like, it's very classic. Like if you like any sort of like classic Homestuck energies, it's so rare to like see those crop up again and have it feel, like that. But that's one that really captures that. Whereas Vast-Error, I think, really is about moving things forward, and I think it does an excellent job of that as well. Oh yeah, post canon. Yeah, like if I was gonna start writing some mini fiction, I would make it be post canon. I think I want to work in that space. Not that I liked a lot of post canon that we got, but um, I like to see it as an opportunity. Desync. I need to check that one out. I need to catch up with the Tapestry. I need to catch up with Kitty Quest. Terezi is really fun to draw. She's got a really good design. What was I doing? I was saving a rock. To line up the rock with where it's supposed to go. Okay, there we go. And now there we go. Ta-da! So now what we do is the image will have these dimensions when we save it out, and they'll stack on top of each other perfectly, and you won't have to do any complicated fiddling. And if Janara were here, she would probably tell me, that's stupid, you don't have to do that. And I'll be like, I did it anyway. I want to do some mini fiction with like Rosebot. I think that is a very interesting place to do things. Because like I mentioned Destiny earlier, and I probably shouldn't give this away because it'll make it too clear what my inspirations are if I do finally sit down and write these. I've been reading a lot of the lore books that come out with like the seasons and the expansions of the game. They usually release these little books of short fictions that follow a specific character or a specific point in time, and they're extremely just like good small sci-fi novellas practically. Like I really enjoy them. The one with Clovis Bray that came out with Beyond Light was extremely good. Maracena that talks about Mara Sov and like her backstory, that one's extremely good. Sorry, I'm talking about an entirely different franchise. But if you like science fiction, I think even without playing the Destiny games, you could probably read those and they would be a lot of fun. My favorite character in Homestuck, I always have like an array of like favorites that are like, one, what is the best character, which is obviously Jade Harley. Second is like, what's the character I relate to the most, which is probably Rose Lalonde. And then the third is like, what is the character I personally am the most hooked with and most compelled by, and that is absolutely Gamzee. I think the most interesting things are going on with Gamzee. And like I'm a very like critical Homestuck person. Like I read it, but I don't really accept a lot of its ideologies at face value, so to speak. So I think that's a very interesting character if you want to like be post Homestuck as a Homestuck reader. And then of course I have like favorites within every little genre of character that there is in Homestuck. There's so many. Like you can have a favorite Jack Nor, you can have a favorite troll. Jade makes so many incredibly correct like decisions and has such like a positive philosophy, and is like the two best moments for me in Homestuck that were the most rewarding for me as a viewer was like was when Kanaya came back as a rainbow drinker. That was awesome. And of course, like the moment of Homestuck is in Cascade, where Jade God tears and like gets on that golden ship. Like that's it. That is like as good as Homestuck gets. Um, but if you really look at this character, what's happening to her is when she was a child, she listened to the White Queen make her a promise that there was something worth fighting for. In her own words, there was something worth fighting for, even though all this seemed to be, put against them. Even though Lord English was this insurmountable threat, even though there was like all these things of predestiny, that there was something worth fighting for. But the thing is, like, the way Homestuck ends, that's not true. Like, she got betrayed, and she got used by that. And she's miserable at the end of the story because she believed that with all of her heart, and she gave herself completely to, like, this mission on behalf of the people that she cared about, and that got her completely fucked over. Um, and, and that is, like, interesting, but also like shows that there's something wrong, I think, with Homestuck as it is. I think that's kind of the point. I'm not saying like something wrong with Homestuck as in that was the bad narrative decision. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But like the point I think Homestuck is making there, whether it means to or not, is that something is wrong with its narrative. In like a more abstract like way, this more meta way, right? Like it's intentionally telling a story that is unjust, or unintentionally telling a story that is unjust, and maybe that's like the point. Like it wasn't, not wrong as in you should not have written that, but wrong as in it is demonstrating like an unjust world. And then I think the question should be upon the reader, what do you do with the knowledge that the world is not just? The world of Homestuck is not just, and like the language of Skaya is one of betrayal, and that the powers that Lord English has over the timeline are absolute, and that like there may be this something worth fighting for that Jade believed in is not, it's not something that can simply be earned by her just giving herself up to it endlessly, right? There's got to be a better way, is what Homestuck sort of says by omission. I don't know if that makes sense. Let's save out this rock. Let's do 2 rocks. Took me a while to even try and say what I was trying to say. It's so bizarre. There, 2 rocks. Yeah, Vriska. No, I don't dislike Vriska, but I think Vriska. Sorry, I'm leaning closer to the mic, so if I'm super loud for a second, I just have to get a hair tie from across my desk. So, yeah, Vriska needing to come back and finish the game is another part of like Homestuck's world being unjust and unfair, and I think as a reader you were supposed to like have some kind of reaction to that. I'm not saying that Hussey intended you to have that reaction to that. I'm just like kind of looking at the text as it is. And thinking that anybody reasonable should notice this isn't fair. It is not fair to any of the other characters that have to be completely sapped of their identity and their and their characterization and their motivation just for Vriska to be the solution to everything. And it's also not fair to Vriska, to be honest. Like, she's not happy. Teresi's not happy. No one's happy. Kind of sucks for everybody, if you think about it. And it's not really rewarding as a story, because even if you like Vriska, I mean, in theory, you should be able to recognize that this is not good for her. This is her going back to her habits as like a cerulean blood. doing what she quote unquote has to cement her place in society. She's just repeating that behavior, but in the context of narrative. She's just doing what she quote unquote has to exist in this narrative, whether or not she actually likes it or it actually like is good for her socially or good for the people she cares about. Like, it's good in that they get to exist, but getting to exist in Homestuck is like a devil's bargain, always, because you exist on the prerequisite that you are making Lord English exist because like he defines the alpha timeline. So is that really good? Is that any different than like what Gamzee's doing or what any of the quote unquote like villains are doing? Not really. Homestuck didn't solve shit. No one's problems got addressed whatsoever. And it's sad because you like Vriska does need to be validated about some of her experiences that have come to define her. But there's a difference between like validation and just throwing up your hands and going fuck it, because actually thinking about what you've done is a little too scary. Let's... Thanks for coming, Billy. I do this every Sunday, so you can come back next week. I usually start at like somewhere between 9 and 10, and hope you have a great week. So this part will be interesting. Because we'll have this, but we'll also have some windmill blades here, so I want some room for that. So we'll start by like, we're just going 5 and 1. That's probably enough, and then we'll do that. And let's do one without let's have a little cave window or the other thing to start with. Alright, let's just get one of the base tower right here. And this I'll probably start to save like as its own file, just so I can keep things in order. How does this work here? Alright, we kind of got it like that. That's almost right. There. I think that's it. I think this new era, let's call it, is going to be probably better for the individuals who have elected to stay and read Homestuck content. It's probably going to be a little bit easier. but it also may not be as exciting. Tragically. Oh, I didn't think about getting this here. Okay, let me check kind of where that's gonna be. Okay. I think it's right there. Yeah, right there. Okay, good. And now just want to see where the blades go, so we kind of know the limits of the space. Looks like terminates kind of right there at this little chunk, and right over here. So let's try and match that up. Oh, yep, see, it's kind of going off the side there. There, I think that's about right. And we'll give it a little bit of space. I don't actually know that we're going to be able to incorporate the windmill blade position into that, because it has to be smaller to preserve just to preserve overall file size. So I think we'll just crop it down to here, take that out, and this will be the start of the tower asset. We'll do that. Alright, we appear to have no viewers currently, so I will now be talking to myself. This is now the Momo solo hour. So this will be the last year of my 20s. next April I will officially be 30, and that is causing a certain amount of reflection, inevitably. Oh, Zeldarune's still here. Sorry, OBS doesn't show me the correct amount of viewers. It says 0 viewers currently. But good to know. Just lurking. Alright. That's so weird. That doesn't show me the right amount of people. Oh well. But yes, I'm gonna be 30 soon, so starting to think about how I can try and get Act 8 done quickly. And I am so tempted to do like another finale project that is sort of like Resolve, but realistically, I just question how long that could take me. So that's where I've been at thinking about the project lately. That's kind of what I'm considering. I don't necessarily know if it needs it. I would love to be able to do that for it. I think it would be a very good experience for like a reader. Um, what is that CAPS convention? I'll just do Mildor. Ta-da. So I'm thinking about it. Like, on one hand, it's going to take too much time. On the other hand, I would really like to do more animation. Like I was impressed with how I was able. Yeah. Yeah. Just at the moment, I feel like um, I'm entering a new phase of my life. Like I don't want to get too personal, but my last living grandparent did pass away a couple months ago, and it was hard at the time, but it was also something that we had seen coming for a couple years. Uh, but now the generations have rolled over, so to speak. Um, so I'm in this new phase of my life, and like I'm starting to kind of evaluate. Do I need to make some changes, and will there be room for something like this in that next phase? I don't know, honestly. Like, I've got another idea for something I think would be really good. Like, really good. I really like it. But also, maybe I need to start thinking about, like, other things in my life. Or maybe there's kind of no point because, like, society is crumbling and there is no mortgages or houses or building a family for people in my generation right now, for most of us. Um, and it's not even that I ever wanted those things necessarily. So I'm kind of like looking like I do need to start building things for me, for myself, because I'm not going to be alive forever. And um, I will be old someday, just like my grandma, just like my mom's going to be in 30 years. So um, I do have to start building some things for me, and Homestuck cannot really do that for me. Like, uh, and it was never supposed to. And the work that I've been doing about it was never supposed to build things for me. So that's kind of where I am. Um, 20s are over. In your 20s, you can sort of experiment and do whatever and like uh, kind of sharpen, hone your blade, so to speak. But like when you're 30, you got to start building. Mm. If not for you, just for the people around you. That's only my philosophy, though. That that's not an objective truth about reality or something. It's just, it's kind of just my impression of things. So let's I forget how to do this. Well, yeah. Match content, sweet. Oops, that's not what I want. I think I want it to be. What do I think of Gentha and Calder? Gentha's a refreshing character. I like that she can just kind of be weird, and earnest, and just kind of like the way she is. Calder, I have no interest in. I have not had a good track record with liking, the Amporas, and other Sea Dwellers don't really. I don't know, something about like the Violet Bloods and the Sea Dwellers. I've never really been hooked with that. I've made some fan trolls that were Violet that I liked, but I've never really liked the Amporas, and I don't really care about Calder. I don't care. Like, his thing is that he hates women, and he has like this tragic backstory as to like why he's gonna get over it, but like I don't care. I would rather just there not be a sexist character than there be like one that has to get through it. And that's just my opinion. But I guess that character, like, that is a very selfish way to look at it. Perhaps that character could be useful for some people, but for me, it's not. It doesn't really hook me. No, I can probably, yeah. Yeah, that'll be fine. Okay. Fairy. Oh, I'm supposed to. I like her. She has got more going on than I feel like people often give her credit for. Sorry if you can hear the wind rattling my door. I'm using every cell in my brain to animate this GIF. Apologies. Are you getting cut off there? You are. I fucked up. There we go. Fairy is interesting because Fairy is an attempt, like Homestuck attempts to say all these different things with Fairy, and they kind of don't really make any sense. Oh, I do hope to use my fan trolls someday. I don't. I'll jump back to that after Feferi. Like, we established that Feferi has problems with the way Alternia is run, and would like to change it. But the idea is that instead of culling these cuttlefish, she is going to kind of put them in cages and take care of them. And the joke, obviously, is that, like, the cuttlefish can just go in and out of the cages, like, they're ineffectual, they're just sort of, like, this strange idea. They're kind of more gratifying for her than they are effective either as cages. They do not actually cage anything. She does not actually cage anyone. And if she takes care of them, I think she does take care of them, but they're kind of like pets. So, and then we see before us. And so the most charitable raid you can give is that Homestuck is saying the solution for society you cannot typically come from its ruling class, because those solutions will be condescending and ineffectual. But the problem is kind of twofold. One, Hussey really went out of his way to extensively code the Pixies as black women. So, like, the Condas is obviously like Nicki Minaj, and then there's Mina's whole design and the way that they speak and everything. And so that becomes a strange person to put this on, to the amount that they've been symbolized. Like, the symbol that she has become makes her a strange place to put down these anxieties, because, like, Feferi's aspirations to change that, like, no longer very simply come from a symbol of, monarchy. The symbol has now been complicated in a way that Homestuck never dealt with. Because, like, the Pixies are not they're not legitimately a government of Alternia. They were put there, like, by the actions of Lord English, who colonized Alternian society for, his own designs. So it's kind of like, now what? And the critique of Before Us that we did get, I think, was not, like, very, like I said, the most charitable read is that it's saying the solutions cannot come from within a ruling class of a society, because they will be condescending, and they will effectively, like, just reinstate power kind of within where it's already held. Sure, great idea, excellent. Love to see it. However, like, instead what we get is, yeah, Alternia is bad, but at least it's not Before Us, because what we get is Cancri and Before Us, and Cancri and Feferi are being used to say the same thing, but Cancri is such, like, a mean-spirited dismissal of the idea of, like, being socially progressive. Andrew had such cynicism to this idea that, like, we should incorporate theories of racism and disability and gender, not just feminism, but, like, more progressive and subversive ideologies of gender, into our dismantling of a system. Andrew was very cynical to that, and very dismissive of it. So to put, like, Feferi and Cancri next to each other as symbols when making that argument makes me very suspicious if Hussey is not just a reactionary wringing his hands over the idea that there are problems that everyone as individuals kind of needs to challenge ourselves on, to fully, like, get rid of the circumstances we find ourselves in. Whereas I do think it takes a multifaceted combination of theories, and understandings of different material situations to create solutions, which is a big fission in leftist thought as of this year of our Luigi, 2021. Is it is Marx is his theories enough? Is Marxist Leninism enough to resolve the contradictions of our society? Or will we have to incorporate theories that explain other things? And that's where I think that's kind of where this manifests from. I'm serious. I don't know if Hussey was conscious of that, but I'm kind of grasping at it, and that's where I'm finding traction when I try to understand Feferi and I try to understand Before and Alternia. And I think just Andrew personally is just very squeamish at the idea of like being nice or coddling people or whatever, and that's kind of like causing him to become a little dishonest because he is reluctant to think about these things. Where I personally fall is like, you know, Marxist theories they're obviously like unavoidably correct, but also like there's been some more years of history, and there's other like we can expand it to include like some things he maybe didn't anticipate. Yeah, and I think that's part of like our responsibility. If we want to change society, you're gonna have to like think about you're gonna have to think about other people, their experiences, uh, and how you, as you build solutions to the contradiction of capitalism, are going to account for those. I guess I don't know. It's hard to like put it in words. Thank you for listening to that unhinged rant about the contradictions of late capitalism as they apply to Homestuck. I want to use my fan trolls. I want to put them in a post-canon project. I want them to be working under Kanaya, who, in this post-canon timeline, has come to be sort of the next empress of the trolls, and she has inherited that position because of her connection to the Mother Grub, which kind of like puts her as like the queen of a hive, so to speak. Like the Mother Grub would be the queen of like an anthill or a beehive, and therefore the Jade Bloods by association. The Jade Bloods by association kind of inherently receive some social standing, and that has like that and her also being a god has crystallized into her being the political center of Alternia, and I want to use that to examine Kanaya's character and the Alternia and its history, and I want to put some fan trolls there who are working for her and their ideas, about her, about the conflicts that may arise with the humans, things like that. Yeah, Queen Bee. I want to do stuff like that, but but I've been playing too many video games, so I have not gotten it done. What else was I gonna do today? Okay, let's go ahead and so this will be. Let's go and try and make a map, I guess. This will be the size of the screen, effectively. If we view it at 100, yeah, about this size. But it's actually not, because the pixel resolution is half of this. Yeah, it's really bittersweet. I want to do some stuff like that with Kanaya. I want to do like a more bittersweet story to kind of connect in some way to like the energies post-canon put out. I'm not against bittersweet stories. Yeah, the problems I had with the epilogues and the HS2 were not the bittersweetness. I'm very much an advocate of that. I think that is such like a natural and good direction to go based on where Homestuck left us, which, if we're being honest, a lot of things were wrong. Like, of course it would be a bittersweet. follow up because like shit was fucked in there. But oh no, that's not right. But I also don't think it really had enough questions for itself that it actually wanted to answer. I think it was being a little cowardly. It's like I read some of the dialogue sequences and some of the like the things going on in the epilogues or Homestuck 2 and I'm like, what are you guys doing? You're asking the wrong question. That sounds cool, Zelda. I kind of like to see those two worlds collide. I want to see what someone has to do with that. And that's true. Kind of anything sounds better than Homestuck 2, which is not just me being mean. The people who worked on it had the best intentions, but something went wrong. I don't think that should be controversial to anyone. Something went very deeply wrong. Which, for the record, does not mean it is worthless or not interesting or unimportant. I'm just saying, by any measure you could apply to it, something has gone wrong. But that's when I care the most. And here I am just kind of making a grid to see how many screens wide and tall the whole map is going to be. And then we're gonna just kind of place some objects and get a feel for if this space I've made is big enough, if I need to reevaluate. So I think what I'll do, I think I will do a series of just short written fiction, kind of fleshing out different little spots in the timeline. And if I really like how those turn out, and if other people like them, I will poke at a flash animation. And if I complete that and I like it, I will complete some pages leading up to that flash animation. And then I will have begun the comic that will be known as Square Root, which I've told myself not to do. Because like I said, I need to... I can't do another 10 years of Homestuck fan work, but the problem is it would be so good, so maybe I could make it short. Like, if Act 8 is 888 pages, I think Square Root would need to be under 500, and I think that can be done because I would break like the standard MSPA format for it. I wouldn't have just a panel image and then dialogue below. I want it to feel like really mixed media and strange, like just pure HTML art every page. Not pure HTML art, but like using like weird, complex layout stuff. Because if you're gonna break the mold, that's sort of the problem. If in Homestuck you are going to, in the metafiction, break the mold and advance things forward, You need to also do that, I think, with the medium, because the medium is so often the message with Homestuck. So to just, you can't just go back to prose, I don't think. You need to do something more. Like, you can do something different, but you need to do something more. And that doesn't necessarily mean you have to work harder or create more work for yourself. You just have to, like, push the envelope somewhere, I think. And, like, that's such an exciting concept for me. I cannot help but feel drawn to it, even though I do not think realistically I have the time. Where am I gonna get sand? I forgot. Does this tile? Oh, thank you, Pine. I'm really grateful to have, like, established any amount of trust with a readership. I don't think anyone should ever underestimate kind of what that is and what that means. Oh, see here, this square is misaligned. Can't have that. Here we go. I need to find where this image tiles. Let's go from here to, I don't know. Yeah, let's go from this point to this point, and then we'll go from, we'll go to right above there, and that should be, oops. And that should be a tiling segment. Oh, that's right. Shit. I think I might. No, that's cool. I'm a little, I'm embarrassed by my old long fix, but I probably shouldn't be. I don't think anyone cares or would, like, be upset with me about them. They weren't, like, there wasn't anything wrong with them necessarily. They're just old, that's all. Yes, how about I get those, and you probably, from the sound of it, follow me on Tumblr. I'll see if I can get those up this week. I think they're hiding somewhere in one of my folders. I'll put them up somewhere. Because they weren't bad. It's just old art. So, I cringe a little bit, but that's my problem. So yeah, I'll get those up there. I do still think about, I've borrowed, like, dialogue and concepts from that long fic that I think work to, like, bring forward. That was the first time I think I, like, really started doing something to unpack Homestuck, so its legacy lives on, if nothing else. I'm gonna try not to do to that long fic what I try not to do to Act 8 what I did that long fic which was, like, as Homestuck kind of outpaced me, have, like, new things to say about everything, and want to do something new. So I'm making myself finish Act 8 no matter what. Yeah. It's like, the ideas in that one were actually not bad. Like, I like them. I just have better ideas now, but, like, not like thinking I was an idiot writing that one, but thinking, like, that that because I wrote that, I was able to continuously refine kind of myself as a writer and as a thinker, I think. Um, so yeah, I'm glad you have positive memories of it, and I'm grateful for, you know, everything that was as an experience, even if, you know, it is it is fangirl stuff. Tumblr never dies. I haven't been posting on Tumblr, but just because I don't feel like I have anything to show, anything to show off. I don't know where this one is supposed to line up. Not there at all, I don't think. I think it's... Hi, Cole! Good morning, how are you? I make sand big. I probably should not do this way. I probably should have saved out a tileable sand, but I did not do that. I'm just going to make a big sand. I'll see if Janaya wants a tileable one. I just want to start kind of placing out a map. There we go. And now, will this, gosh darn. Well, here. We will simply not perceive that it does not meet the edges because I am not interested. Okay. Let's go get some shapes. Boom. So now, we have a character sprite, we have, I sort of want at least kind of one empty screen bordering the entire area so that you can sort of walk into the desert and it kind of feels like this, you're in this endless desert and you lose track of where you are, and if you keep going you'll come from like the top of the map to the bottom of the map and you'll just kind of be walking in this loop forever, if that makes sense. That's sort of the feeling I'm going for. So if I put like, let's say there's the main tower area here, and then there's just like rocks kind of scattered around like this. And then we have oops. I'll have one of these. Oh, and I almost forgot to make like... Here, let me demonstrate. So let me kind of... So we've got the shadows, and then another good thing about the shadows being separate here for this is let's just kind of grab the, not very well, but grab the rock of this tower and separate it from the shadow. Now we can like just flip it. And yeah, the lighting's wrong, but and we have like, oh, I need to make a shadow without the thing too, huh? Now we have like flipped rocks. Oh, that's exciting. I like how that looks. Oh no, Cole has to do house renovations instead of drawing clown. That's unfair. That's unethical. Cole posted some extremely good clown art yesterday. I no longer want for anything. I have been healed by the clown art. Thank you for coming, Pine. Yeah, we were gonna wrap up pretty soon anyway. Hope you have a great week. Hope to see you next week. And I hope to get this update done pretty damn soon, by next month at latest. Jeez. And have a have a great day. Bye. All right, there we go. Another shadow. Clown art, good. Cole's clown art, good. So now, can I get, yes, I can get another shadow, perfect. So now we can just jam this under there. And there we go. So it might need to be a little bit larger. I think I'll just kind of test with this and see how we feel, because I kind of wanted to maybe put another cave down here with Porim or something. And we can also like stack rocks if we get them without the shadow. Or even like with the shadow, I guess. And there's going to be kind of characters scattered around. So I think maybe like another windmill up here. The other one over here. Some more rocks scattered around. Ah, that's a good start. Rock stacks. It's a start. Probably I'll just like send this image to Janaya in a bit and see if we can't plop that in and kind of start testing the scale, how it feels, get the screen size right. Then it's just gonna be about plugging in assets, making them work, getting them in the right spot, testing it, feeling it out, writing dialogue. Oh shit, writing so much goddamn dialogue. Okay, well I think that's the stream. Thank you everybody for coming. I'm really gonna try and be consistent and stream every Sunday, even if I don't feel like it, like I didn't today, but it turned out really, really fun, so thank you. I should be back next Sunday, sometime between 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I'll usually go for 1.5 to 2.5 hours is the plan. I only did 90 minutes today, because I'm kind of feeling worn out. Work was really hard, but I made it, so I'll stick to it. Yeah, and that's all. Thanks for the conversation. Thanks for your continued investment in this project. I will do my best to reward you, and everyone have a great week. Goodbye.